All right, so we're back from NFL update to weekly movie review. I really did want to get to this last week, but we already had our committed movies, which were great. Thanks for watching those, and likes. You want to hear movies? We're happy to do them. Not this week though, because unfortunately, passing of Val Kilmer, we have to pay our tributes. One of my favorite actors. I know you guys love him as well. Just great to go back and watch a few of his movies that we're going to review, but some of the other movies and then just reading through his list and going back and reminiscing through those. It's man, he did a lot of movies I really enjoyed. So our shout out here for HSC Podcast to Val Kilmer and our weekly movie review. We're going to start with the Salton Sea. And this was Derek's movie. Let's see, when was this made?
2002.
2002. Yeah, so it's getting older now. Like, I mean, I watched a lot of this movie, so I'll lead off here. There's so much good in the movie with um Val Kilmer's character in particular. The movie is all over the place. It's not everybody's cup of tea in a lot of the content in the movie. I know for some people that don't know or can't understand what that life is like that he's portraying, it turns people off. But what the way he plays his character, and he not I'm not going to ruin the actual storyline of it, but he's playing a tweaker, and he's into the drug life, and he's trying to do a deal, and he was working with the cops, and he's a CI, and so just to watch him in that life and to portray that character, he does a really really good job of living in that character. So the movie itself, the storyline is kind of wild, especially at the end. And but it does keep you interested. So it's a good movie if it's not super long, and it'll keep you interested. It'll keep you guessing. There is kind of a couple little twists in it, and not necessarily twists, but just differences in the plot, and as they explain the plot and it comes out. The bads to the movie, I don't think there's a lot because they have a lot of good characters in the secondary, roles too. Even Danny Trejo shows up, which is always awesome to see Danny Trejo. And then the part that Vincent D'Onofrio plays as Pooh Bear, it's just amazing. And I don't even want to give away what the thing about him is, but that part of it is so cool, and how he portrays that. So it's a great movie overall. I don't like the cops. I've never been a fan of those two actors, but that would be my only downfall is that I think they could have done a little better job in their role. Wes, what do you got?
Yeah, ditto for most of what you just said because the movie's just wild. Like just the beginning of the movie, um, setting you up for what it's like to be, you know, being a speed freak or whatever, or in that lifestyle of the meth labs, or the very beginning where it shows how wrong things can go actually, what it's like to be on it. It's a trip to watch the beginning. It really gets you into the movie. If you're not into the movie after the first 7 minutes, then it's like you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't see how you could sleep through the first set. And then the girl in the mattress, just just random. When you get to there, you're just like, what is this? And the arrows, and and then you see, okay, you understand, what happens to um his girl, and when they it's hard to watch them reenact what happened that's kind of like the bad. I'm like, you just naturally don't want to see it.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff you just don't really want to see. Um, but overall, it's a great movie. I kind of wish that I think it could have been. I mean, it was made. What was released in 2002? I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Yes,
2002.
yeah. I mean, the writing it's kind of all over the place, but Pooh Bear is just wild, and how he messed up his nose, and you know, but the ending is really disgusting and violent. But again, that's the lifestyle that you know that these people. You could just see the subculture. They did a great job at reenacting or just portraying the subculture of what it's like, and it's ugly, and it's like you don't want to see it, but it's it kind of sucks you in. Um, and Val Kilmer's performance was brilliant. I love his narration at the beginning.
Oh,
I mean, when he the beginning, his narration is classic. Some of
yeah.
the things he says, it's like, who cares? Like the
Well, with
Japanese,
the with that narration, and kind of some of the other scenes that aren't normal in movies, like when he goes to buy the gun,
yeah,
just the way that the guy's talking and talking to the camera, but not talking to the camera, but
yeah.
talking to you,
Did
like
you
that. Those are really cool scenes.
did you bring the plastic man?
Oh no, no. When that one, I don't remember the exact line, but he's like, "Excuse me or pardon me, but I am the ocean."
I am the no. That's what they call. That was his nickname. He was the ocean. It's like this is the
That
guy. He's the
that was
ocean.
pretty wild, but yeah, there's a lot of that in the movie, though. I think you're right about the narration, though, and those types of scenes that make the movie really unique, and it's great in that sense as well. So,
Oh,
yeah. So, Derek, give us your overview.
I picked this movie because I wanted something that wasn't a mainstream, that it gives a little bit more in depth of like Val Kilmer, the actor. And I think this movie was what I love about this movie is you think of it as something at the beginning, and then at the end of the movie, you're like, oh, this wasn't what it was at the beginning. It was a totally different movie at the end.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved. And yeah, all the supporting, like D'Onofrio, Peter Sarsgaard, um, Deborah Kara Unger, Beatty
Uh,
Ward.
what what's the guy's name? Adam, is that Adam Goldberg?
Yes,
Dude,
Adam
he
Goldberg.
plays. I mean, you would think that he was on drugs.
yeah.
Well, and Glenn Plummer was the ocean, and he did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Luis Guzman's in it. I mean, and this is it's like, you don't see these types of movies anymore. This is like 2002 peak indie movie.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it is it's not, the most high budget but it's like it gives the actors, you go and make this movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how
It's
I
a
felt. And yeah, I guess the writer of it, I guess he just wrote a little thing like to make something crazy to get like in the door to start writing. And they're like, "Oh, we love this. Why don't you make this into a movie?" And he's like, "I was just trying to make some crazy story."
Yeah.
And
It is crazy though. I mean, and it is a good plot though, and you're right. When you get to the end, it's so much different than you thought in a lot of different aspects. So it's a really, really good movie. It's well done. But yeah, it's also not, again, not everybody for everybody, and you just got to really appreciate what it is.
well,
I
and then
definitely think it's worth the watch.
if you love acting, the
Yeah,
acting is phenomenal.
yeah, yeah. So definitely want to recommend. That's the Salton Sea. Check it out. So next one, still again, we're here with Val Kilmer, and so Wes, your movie's Spartan. And I'll tell you, I don't remember watching this before. And so this was it was actually really great to watch this. I probably have seen it, but it was felt like a whole new movie to me. So Derek, why don't you lead us off? What's your good, what's your maybe bad?
Well, I like it. It's David Mamet directed it and wrote it. So you're getting the guy who wrote Glengarry Glen Ross. And it's a spy action movie, but it's more like it's a play, if that makes any sense to you. It's not like a lot, like, you know what I mean? It's almost like a bunch of sets.
Yeah.
Um, the acting, I mean, they got some heavy hitters, William H. Macy, um, Ed O'Neill's in it, Clark Gregg, Derek Luke, Kristen Bell. It's one of her first roles
Yeah,
for a
that's a
long,
young Kristen Bell.
yeah. But I like it. It's the reason this movie got made was because of Val Kilmer. He helped get this made, and I he does a good job. It's it's a little slower than I like, but I mean it's still a good movie. It's a good premise of a movie, and it dealt with in 2004 like kind of the stuff that's going on. It felt more like a 90s movie to me though. Like, you know what I mean? It was like meant for the 90s, not like in the 2000s. Um, but yeah, it was something I saw a long time ago, and it was a good, nice refresher to see it again.
Yeah, it was slower than a movie, so I get your reference to the play, right? Because it did and I think that's a little bit of Mamet's writing though,
Yeah.
where I think Val Kilmer portrayed the part that he was supposed to very well, right? But it made him come off dry and slow at times. The there's a lot of great things about the movie though, but the funny thing to me though is like how Derek Luke, like this guy just gets it the whole movie, and he's not in the movie very long, dude. But he gets shot twice. Who gets shot twice in a movie?
Poor guy.
And then like the second time, you're like, oh, maybe he'll live, but no, like right in the head, like he's done.
Spoiler, Steve. Jeez.
um, the movie itself, though, I like the plot. I did enjoy the storyline because you're putting twists in there. You have obviously Val Kilmer, playing the Delta Force guy to come in and save the girl, and you're like, oh, he's going to save the girl. Then they give you the plot twists of all that. So that to me makes the movie watchable because you want to find out what's going to happen, right? So you're going to watch it and you're going to be like, how's this going to end? How's this play out? But man, you just don't want to be around Val Kilmer in that movie, man. Like everybody around him dies. But it's either way, I thought it was a great movie. I love the way it finishes as well. So it's very much worth watching to the end. The only thing I'd say is the it's not the acting, it's the writing that slows the movie down to a point where you have a hard time saying, okay, let's go. So Wes, your movie, give us your overview.
Well, I didn't know, but I was looking through old DVDs. I had this on DVD, but I hadn't watched it in years. I forgot what it really was about. I knew it was about him and Delta operations and having to save a girl. I didn't really remember the premise. And then I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, I remember. Um, it, I saw something, William H. Macy actually talked about the movie, and he said the movie's more, it's not this telling a story, it's using a story to elicit emotions. And that's kind of what this did. It's not the lightest, it's not the easiest movie to watch just because of the content. of the slavery rings and the sets itself and what it takes to actually go find someone that's gone missing, especially when you have a high profile person that is the president's daughter. It just the realistic um, protocol that goes along what actually happens when they are trying to extract somebody from a different country and the logistics. And I like that type of stuff. It's a little slow, but I like how it builds and the it's again it's a mystery, and it's a lot more thought. You have to pay attention or you'll miss a lot of stuff. And so I thought Val Kilmer pulled off the role like it's not it's over the top. He is dry, but that's just think about someone who is an elite reconnaissance team. That's I mean it came off realistic to me. The only thing I'll say is it is still Val Kilmer. Like I'm thinking, I just watched The Doors a couple days ago, and it's like, come on, and it's like you're just thinking of he's playing Jim Morrison and he's just gonna say something, or he's like, it's he's gonna say something that's just off the wall or just very you know just trying to be funny, but it's a serious movie. It's just I totally forgot about the content, but I always remember that I just like how like Derek was saying about the different. It's like a play. It's like the different locations. I thought it just the reality of what it is most likely in that type of scenario in real life. I think they pull it off realistically for the most part.
I think that's one of my favorite parts of that movie is what you're talking about when you say it felt realistic in, the procedures and the things that he had to go through and the way they showed that of how they would go about, recovering a missing person and the way the Secret Service operated and the way the Delta Force, tied in with them to then try to go and get this job done. I really like that part of it too, even though I think that that is lost on a lot of people that are going to watch this movie, which makes it a better movie than they might think it is. So overall, really good movie. Any last thoughts on the Spartan?
It's not that long.
Yeah.
It's 100 hour and 36 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, knock that one out in an hour and a half. All right. Well, we'll get to the last movie here, which is my movie.
Oh, 46.
And I know I took kind of the easy way out here, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And obviously Val Kilmer's in it. There's a lot of other people in it, but that's Tombstone. So let's give our Tombstone review here. So Derek, why don't you lead us off?
The thing when watching Tombstone is I always come back to the fact that how he was not nominated for an Academy Award. That is where it gets me so mad. Like thinking about the Academy Awards. It's like, okay, so it was Tommy Lee Jones won for Fugitive. No way was Tommy Lee Jones any better than Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. It's like Doc Holliday is one of the greatest acting jobs ever. I mean, he did such a great job in that role. And that's what, yeah, it kind of ticks me off when I watch the movie because I'm like, how was he never nominated for an Academy Award? Thinking of that or of The Doors, like you said, of Jim Morrison or, Heat. But I love like Tombstone because his character, Doc Holliday, he plays the character so well. There's so many good supporting actors in this, and then Kurt Russell's the lead. Uh, it's like, and it's a great history. It's like a based on a true story. A lot of it happened. Some of even the sayings that he says happened in real life. So of course, I've seen this probably, I don't know how many times, but yeah, I rewatched it because he does such a great job.
I mean, it is, you're right. Like the part that he plays in here is probably one of the best parts that I've seen any actor play and portray their character in any movie. So yeah, that's great. Let's see. So Wes, give us your good to Tombstone.
I all I can do is really add to what Derek says because I just can't really talk about anything else but Val Kilmer in the movie. And when I mean he has one of the most iconic lines of all time. And when he's like, of course the Cowboys, Cowboys come in, they try to take over the town. Kurt Russell, who he plays Wyatt Earp, doesn't want to get involved, wants to just be there and be, run a casino, make money. He's been a lawman his whole life, and he doesn't want to fight with these guys. Falcon, what does he say? I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah, I'm your
And
Huckleberry.
and then the whole back and forth with Johnny Ringo is classic.
Yeah.
When he's like doing all the gun stuff, and he's like Val Kilmer is like this, and I mean, it's a tragedy that he didn't get nominated or just nominated. Like, how does he not get nominated for that role? It's probably definitely one of the most classic roles. I don't know how many people I've run into, even a lot of women that love that movie, that they just love the character. It's actually one of the only movies me and my dad actually went and saw. I could never get him to go to the movies, but it was a Western and it had Kurt Russell in it. And it's like his favorite movie. He's watched it probably 40 times just because of Val Kilmer. And of course, he loves it because Sam Elliott's in it. Sam Elliott just plays the guy in the Western, the good old boy. Bill Paxton's in it. I mean, it's a great cast, but Johnny Ringo really does play a great villain, and you're scared. You're like, there's no way anybody could beat this dude, right? And the ending is probably one of the best endings I've seen in a Western, besides Unforgiven. But that's like that's here. Um, so
Yeah, the just the cast of the four of them, when you talk about, Kilmer and Russell and Sam Elliott and Bill Paxton as the four guys, like that's such a good cast, to put the four of them together, and they all play off each other really well. I think Bill Paxton does such a great job of portraying what, Morgan Wyatt would be,
like
in that situation, right?
he's an educated man. Now I really hate him.
Yeah. The Val Kilmer lines, and so I'll give you my overview. What I love about the movie the most are these different Val Kilmer, lines that he does and the way he delivers them. Kurt Russell talked about this in the movie, in like, interviews after the movie. He's like, I've never seen anybody train so hard for a role. When he just working on that southern aristocratic accent, but also had to play the gunfighter, the gambler, and tuberculosis on top of it, right? So he had to do so much in that role to make it believable. At one point, like they were making him wear cotton clothes and turning the sets up to 100 degrees, so he was like sweating, you know, and he just rolled with it. But yeah, when you talk about scenes like, Johnny Ringo's out there, doesn't anybody want to play for blood? And of course, Doc Holliday does, and he's like, I'm your Huckleberry. But when you talk also about how it ends and when the the duel and the back and forth between the whole movie is such a good build up to the end, and it's so great, and you really see how great Val, or not just Val Kilmer, but Doc Holliday in that role is, because even Johnny Ringo at the end's like, oh, I was just fooling around,
Yeah,
and
I,
and Val Kilmer's like, I wasn't, and so now it just gets real for Ringo, and it's so that part's great. The storyline very good. I think Kurt Russell does a great job. I really like, the way like Michael Rooker plays one of the cowboys. He plays into that part, or not cowboys, but he changes from the cowboys and goes and helps them. So he plays a good part. Um, I don't remember the guy's name, but the dude was in Wings. Remember that guy? What's his name?
Oh, it's Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah. So they have the OK Corral shootout, which is, you're talking about the historical stuff. That was historical, based on real events. Even use some of the real lines in there, where Val Kilmer runs out of bullets or whatever, and the guy's going to shoot him. He's like, "I got you now," and he's like, you know, "If you do, you're a daisy."
they win. They win.
And so yeah, that's it's just great. A lot of great lines.
Well, and then an unsung person we haven't talked about, but Stephen Lang is Ike Clanton.
Right,
Does such a good job as like you hate him so much because he's just like the cowardly heel type guy.
right.
Like he's tough, but then he's like a coward.
Tough when he has a gun, and when he's got his friends around, but every time he's by himself, and he plays that part perfectly too. Which you got to give a good shout out to Kurt Russell though, because man, did he sell the whole Wyatt Earp, like, I'm just the man and I'm not scared of anybody. Grab you by your ear and drag you out of the casino.
Yeah, come here, youngster. And that
Yeah.
was Bill. That was Billy Bob Thornton. I always forget that because he
Oh
remember
yeah,
he
that
was
one
the guy
part.
that was like, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I own the place, and he's like, well, you got a new owner now. It's like, um, yeah, it's so many great. I mean,
Well,
I love the
Billy
act.
Bob ad-libbed everything. His was all ad-lib.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he did a great job just that in that little short scene. And what's really funny though is, with all of that, you're like Kurt Russell, you think that he's Wyatt Earp and he's the man, but really Doc Holliday is the man in this movie, right? As far as like, he's the guy everybody's scared of. He's the poker player, he's the outlaw. He's the real
yeah.
outlaw.
It's like, and he's like not the law guy. He's like the outlaw.
Right.
And I love when he's like, give Doc the shotgun.
Yeah.
That was so awesome.
Yeah. So the only part, and I'll tell you this, the only thing I don't like is I wish they wouldn't have done the scene with Kurt Russell and going out into the river, no, no, and just shooting and not
But
getting
that was
shot.
actually historically accurate.
I know. I don't, I mean, well, so they say. I mean, it's a little unrealistic to the human eye, right? Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. Um, I would just like to have seen more of a shootout in that scene there. That's the only disappointing scene to me personally in the movie.
Yeah, the only thing is like, they had a bunch of montages in it. Like, oh, here we're going to get another cowboy, and then just a
Right.
little like scenes.
Yeah, where they went after the
They're
cowboy
chasing them
when
down.
they all got when they were all marshals. Was it
Yeah.
U.S. Marshals? And he's like, see this, you know. And then it became the montage thing. I didn't really like that too much,
Right.
but I don't really
Because
care.
they're just wrapping it up at that point, it's kind of everything had been done. Now they just got to get to the final scene.
They just play like play some Bon Jovi, have them go around and
Get
shoot
the Young Guns.
Like, it's totally that's what it was.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah,
And then, you can't forget, Charlton Heston's in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
dude, that's right.
Yeah, he plays the rancher at the end.
It's so random. You're like, dude, it's Charlton Heston.
There's so
But
many people.
he played a real person who was actually friends with Wyatt. Like the character was, like, Henry Hooker was friends with Wyatt Earp.
Right. And he was like a well-known huge rancher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I mean like the Clantons were real, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of stuff,
Johnny Ringo.
right? There's a lot of things that they tried to keep fairly accurate, which was great. And so overall, it is one of the best movies that you'll ever see. It's worth a watch and a rewatch. And, I mean, I definitely think that Val Kilmer, though, is his best role. So, with that said, I had to bring that into our weekly review. So we had Spartan, we had the Salton Sea, and we had Tombstone. So if you haven't seen those three movies, they're all three worth the watch. Show your love to Val Kilmer. A lot of other good movies out there too. So when you're talking about movies, Val Kilmer movies, you got to shout out, things like Top Gun and Heat. Even though he's not the main person in those movies necessarily, he plays a great supporting role.
Less is more, and that like in Heat, especially in Heat, is he's just there. I mean, he's on screen with Pacino and De Niro, and they've only been on together in another movie, and he knows that he's with legends, and he does such a great job. He just seemed like in some movies he just knew when to take a little bit off when other actors would overact or over dramatize something, and he was perfect. He was just the guy that was in the background with the gun scene. It's all about the gun scene,
Yeah, that was
the
good.
spot scene.
But he also, he encompassed that role really well, though. That's the thing is like he takes on the part so good.
Well, and then one that I wanted to do, but I wanted to do Salton Sea more, but was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
So good in that too.
What about Willow?
Oh,
Willow, dude.
Will is a classic.
I know it's
Willow.
so good though. And The Saint, I just watched The Saint too. Like that's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. So a lot of good ones out there. Check them out. Um,
Real genius.
yeah. What's the other one? Top Secret.
Top secret, yes.
So all great movies. So those are a little tribute to Val Kilmer. We'll put it in the shorts so you can check those out. Don't forget to comment any movies you want to see. I mean, I know people are watching some of our shorts, some of the podcasts. Put in the comments movies you'd like us to review. We're happy to review those movies. But that's a wrap. Any final thoughts on the Val Kilmer movies weekly review?
I mean, it's some kind of hard to watch just knowing that he's gone now about how talented of an actor he was. And I don't think he really got his due.
Not at
And
all.
it's a sad thing.
No.
I do think though he did in the respect he got from other actors and actresses. He may have not got the awards that some other people got, but if you heard, if you watched a lot of the interviews and things after his passing, when they said, "Hey, Val Kilmer passed," everything was just glowing um, reports and just talking about how much he really appreciated his craft and how he really thought it was a craft, like it wasn't a job to him, like acting was a craft.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot coming from other fellow actors because there are some actors that make a lot of money just acting, just doing it as a job. So, all right, we'll wrap it there. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and we'll catch you next week.